The old street lamps on the street emit a faint yellow glow. Illuminates this street full of history. It creates an atmosphere of mystery. On this cold, early autumn night, the 45-year-old Ethan walks heavily, tired walking on this familiar street. At the end of the day's work at the construction site, ready to go home, his body was due to the long hours of carrying heavy loads, and feels stiff and painful. But these physical exhaustions, it's nothing compared to the heaviness of my heart. It's been 5 years since his wife, Lila, passed away from cancer. Leave her alone in a small house in this old neighborhood. Every street there, every alley is filled with memories of the happy past. You have to walk through a dark alley. The lace buckets are piled up in a mess. In the darkness, it was as if time had stood still. Suddenly, a faint cry broke the silence. At first he thought it was just the meow of a stray cat. But when he listened, his heart pounded. It was a baby's cry, weak and fragile. It's like a slight breath of life from newborn. Without hesitation, Ethan rushed into the dark alley. He looked around, looked for the source of the sound. He stopped in front of an old cardboard box. This carton was dropped behind the lust pile. It's as if some secret is being hidden. When he opened the box, his breathing almost stopped. There were 2 newborn babies lying inside, petite and weak. The slightest movement can hurt them. Ethan panicked. Trembling, he opened his coat, wrapped both babies together, feel their fragile bodies, trembling slightly in his own hands. "Oh my God!" Ethan exclaimed and hurried to call. His voice choked up, and he reported the emergency situation. When the bell of the ambulance rings, Ethan sat on the side of the road, still holding the 2 babies tightly. The crying grew quieter, only the faint sound of their breathing. He looked at them red and swollen. There were tears on his face. I couldn't help but feel a wave of anger in my heart. How could anyone have these fragile lives? So indifferent. A few minutes later, ambulance arrived. Ethan, paramedics rushed the 2 babies into the car. On the way to the hospital, his gaze never took off them. The heartbeat grew faster and faster with their faint breathing. At the hospital, the doctor immediately receives it and checked the health of the 2 babies. Ethan stands outside the emergency room. My heart was filled with anxiety and helplessness. He didn't understand. Why would I have had to these 2 strange babies? So concerned. Why did he care so much about these 2 babies? It's because they're too vulnerable, too hurt. Or is it in the depths of his heart? He saw filling in life. That deeply hollow opportunity. One since the death of his wife. I have been living alone. An hour later, a doctor walks out of the emergency room. "Did you find these 2 babies?" he asked. Ethan nodded. "Feel your heart racing." My heart was full of anxiety and waiting. I don't know what will change in my life next. This time to come. It had been a long time since he had felt the light of hope. The 2 small children have stabilized. The doctor continued. His eyes were full of concern, but they are still very weak. Severe nutritional deficiencies. We will continue to stay in the hospital to observe their health. Ethan breathed a sigh of relief. It was as if the burden on his shoulders had been lightened a little. But then, a question came to his mind, like an unhealed wound. And after that, where will they go? Who will take care of them? The doctor looked at him. The eyes are full of sympathy, as if to understand Ethan's concerns. "We will contact social welfare organizations," he said in a low tone. "They will help to find a suitable place, so that they can." Long-term care. Ethan nodded mechanically, but there was an indescribable sadness in my heart. He didn't want to leave the 2 babies, although reason told him that it was inevitable. A few hours later, a social worker named Grace came to the hospital. He is a middle-aged woman, kind face, but there was a decisiveness in his eyes, as if he was used to it. Faced with difficult decisions at work, Ethan began to elaborate, discover the passage of 2 babies. Lena, on the other hand, listened intently. Take notes in a small notebook once in a while. "You spoke in detail," Lena said after Ethan finished speaking. "You're doing it right. But now, we need to find a long-term home for them." Got a dry throat. It feels like I'm stuck. "Those 2 babies, will they stay in the same place together?" he asked, a hint of concern in his voice. Lena sighed. His expression became gloomy, as if he knew. "There will be a decision that is not easy to make. We'll do our best. But find a family that can adopt 2 children at the same time. It's very difficult. They may end up in an orphanage." And there it is. Most likely, They will be separated. Ethan was silent. It felt like my heart was being squeezed. What he said was the last thing he wanted to face. He thought about his current life. A single man, stayed in a small, shabby room, doing precarious work on a construction site. He had nothing, only a heart full of love, willing to dedicate him to these children. Then, a crazy thought suddenly came to his mind, a thought he knew would change his life. I will adopt them, Ethan said, his voice shaky, but with determination. This sentence is like making a decision that cannot be turned back. At that moment, he felt the weight of responsibility. The man looked at him in surprise. I can't help but say, Mr. Dow Ethan, I understand that you want to help, but it's a very big decision. Do you really understand the responsibilities you will face? I understand, Ethan interrupted him. The tone was much firmer than before. I know it's not going to be easy. I know. I'm not the ideal person to adopt these children, but I can't let them be separated. I will do whatever needs to be done to take care of them. Grace was silent for a moment. His eyes seemed to weigh Ethan's every word. Mr. Ethan, the process of adoption is very complex. We need to check, interview, assess your financial situation and living conditions. In your case, as a single man, it's not easy. I will overcome everything, Ethan said firmly. His voice was full of determination. I will do whatever needs to be done, no matter how tough it is. Lena looked at him for a moment, then finally nodded, accepted his offer. Well, I can't guarantee anything in advance, but we can start the process. First of all, you will need to attend a training course to be an adoptive parent. After that, we will proceed with your living conditions. An assessment of financial situation. Nod your head. A glimmer of hope flickered in my heart. Thank you. I won't let you down. As Lena walked away, gotta turn back. Look at the room where the two little girls were lying. Through the blurred glass door, he saw the small figures of two babies. This calm is carefree in sleep. For the first time, there was a strange emotion in his heart. Indescribable. This emotion is mixed with worry. Hope for a strong love with him that has never been stronger. Rest assured, Ethan whispered, although he knew that the two babies could not have heard. AI Papa will take care of you. Daddy promised. It's a gentle promise, though, but it carries an incomparably heavy responsibility. It was his only movement at the moment. Force. The next few months, Ethan Chin's process of constantly challenging himself. He took a course to be an adoptive parent. Step by step, I learned to change diapers and make milk. There is also listening to the cry of a baby at night. Survive long, sleepless nights. Whenever the work is over, he still came to the hospital tirelessly, caring for and visiting two children. Gradually, he learned how to hold them in his arms, make them feel safe and loved. He chose names for them, Mia and Lena respectively. Every name carries a part of the memory. Sister Mia has big eyes, always looking at him with innocent curiosity and love. Sister Lena usually sleeps soundly, but every time I wake up, her innocent smile always melts Ethan's heart. He is also responsible for assessing Ethan's living conditions. Social workers. Lena came to her little room. It was a crowded rental house. Not luxurious, but I've had to work hard to sort it out. Will be a corner of the bedroom. It has been made a place for children. He bought an old bed, spread laundry as a mattress, and all the savings are used. Prepare a decent living environment for them. Despite the fact that the financial situation is very difficult, still failed to ignite firm hope. The income he earns from the construction site can barely sustain him alone. There is no mention of raising two small children. But Ethan never backed down. He decided to take on more night shifts. Work day and night. Keep earning extra income. Although the body is tired, but his spirit was always strong. Ultimately, after 3 months of challenging and persistent efforts, Ethan received unexpected good news. His application for adoption was approved. But there is one condition. Must undergo a 6-month test and are subject to close supervision by social welfare institutions. When Mia, her Lena, officially came home, that day, it's a day Ethan will never forget. He picked up his 2 children from the hospital. When he held them, my heart is beating so fast. When they walked into that little house, he felt like the whole world had changed. The empty and cold room before, now it's suddenly full of life. It was filled with the cries and laughter of children. Every corner of the home, all full of love and happy voices. For the first few days, take care of the children. It was a real challenge for Ethan. He struggled to feed the children and change diapers, facing sleepless nights after nights, especially when Mia cries in the middle of the night to feed. Lena, on the other hand, often vomits because of stomach pain, frequent vomiting after feeding. Ethan stayed up late at work, although physically exhausted. But he never wanted to give up. The feeling of exhaustion made him more determined. Neighbors are also starting to notice changes in Ethan's life. Some people are curious. Others whispered. The elderly woman who lives downstairs, Mrs. Harper. A frown is often raised whenever the cries of children are heard from upstairs. Ethan. One day, he was pushing twin carts at Ethan when taking Mia Harina for a walk. Stop him. Are you sure you can do it yourself? Raising a child is not an easy task, especially single men like you. Ethan smiled reluctantly. Tired but patient answer. Thank you, Auntie, for your concern. I know it's hard, but I'll do my best. Mrs. Harper shook her head. His face was still full of doubt, but she didn't say anything more. Despite the stern gaze and chatter, there are still some people who support Ethan. Sarah, a single mother who lives on the same floor, always show up in time. Give Ethan valuable parenting advice. He didn't just teach Ethan how to make milk powder properly. He was also taught how to give milk, massage the tummy whenever there is flatulence in the milk, or send him his own daughter's old clothes. Those little clothes that are no longer worn, although it is secondhand, but it's still very new. Once, when Sarah saw, Ethan was busy changing her sister's diaper. She whispered, Ethan, you're doing a great job. Don't care what people say. The most important thing is that you love children. That's all they need. This sincere encouragement is like a gust of fresh wind. Relieved Ethan of anxiety and exhaustion a little. Give him strength too. Let him keep going. Got through those tough days. Gradually, he began to adjust to this hectic new life. He'd learned how to tell when he wasn't hungry, how to coax to sleep. I also learned how to work and take care of my children. Find the balance. Although everything is gradually stabilizing. Financial issues. This remains a major challenge for Ethan. The cost of raising two small children, much higher than he expected, such as milk powder, clothing, and various other expenses, repeatedly increased. Let him feel. It was as if I was caught in a whirlpool from which I could not escape. Medical expenses. The number of times your child has been seen to the doctor. It never seems to stop. Ethan had to keep expenses to a minimum. Breakfast turned into instant noodles. Sometimes, he had to cut all unnecessary expenses, just to be able to leave the money to the kids. One night, when Ethan sat in the corner, faint lights, when a number on a piece of paper shines from a desk, he realized he couldn't pay next month's rent. Despair struck strongly, choked him up. He turned to look at Mia and Lena. The two children were sleeping quietly in their cribs, their carefree faces. It made his heart ache and warm. He began to worry about whether he would be able to raise it all the time. They are still the end. I'll be helpless. Watch them go back to the social welfare institutions. There is no such true love there as he has for them. But at this moment, Ethan shook his head violently. Drive away those negative thoughts. No, he said to himself. I can't give up. I used to promise to take care of Mia and Lena. I will do everything I can to deliver on this promise. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. Decide not to let the dilemma defeat you. The next morning, Ethan didn't hesitate. Went to the building contractor he often worked with. Uncle Tang, I hope to find an extra job. Uncle Tang? Ethan said. There was urgency in the tone. I need more work. Do you have a night shift? If Uncle Tang has other jobs, you can also let me do it. Uncle Tang looked at Ethan. The eyes were full of worry. Ethan, you're already overworked. Uncle is really worried about your health. I'm fine, Uncle Tang. Ethan said. Do your best to suppress the tiredness in your tone. I need money to raise my children. Are you sure? Well, I have a small project here. You can do it on weekends, if you want. Uncle Tang replied. Thank you very much. Uncle Tang, Ethan said. I felt a little lighter. He began to plan additional work. Know what that means. There will be less time to spend with Mia, Lena. But he had no other choice. The next few months, Ethan's life. It has become a long day full of work every day. He wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning. Prepare breakfast. Change your child's diaper. Take care of them before going to work. He spent the whole day working on the construction site. Hurried home to pick up the kids. Then move on to other things. For example, cooking, bathing, tell stories to children until they fall asleep. Jobs and responsibilities are getting heavier, but he persevered because of the love for children is the biggest motivation for him to never give up. When they are children, they have fallen asleep. Ethan continued to work. Whether it was a task given to him from afar, it's still a trivial matter assigned by a neighbor. Nervousness and exhaustion never seemed to be able to leave. Your health is declining due to the stress of life. He often had headaches, feeling exhausted. Sometimes they even skip a meal because they don't have time to eat. However, whenever I see Helena smile, all tiredness and pain seem to disappear. He understands that all the sacrifices are worth it because of the happiness and peace of the children. It was the only motivation for him to keep going. One day, when you have to work on a construction site, he received an urgent phone call. It was from the nursery. Mia had a high fever. You need to be taken to the hospital immediately. The worry in my heart came up instantly. Ethan hurriedly asked for leave and rushed to the nursery. My heart was beating like it was going to jump out. At the clinic, the doctor diagnosed Mia with otitis media. Treatment with antibiotics is required. Ethan looked at the medicine list. My heart was full of worry. It was an expense he didn't anticipate, but he didn't hesitate to buy medicine for his daughter right away. That night, Mia finally falls asleep after a long cry of pain. I have to sit on the edge of my daughter's bed, gently stroked her soft hair. She felt a strong love surging in her heart. With that came a strong determination. He will make all sacrifices, all just to protect and take care of his two daughters. When Helena grew up, we are facing a new challenge. Children don't just start saying the first word. I also began to learn to walk and shows a distinct personality. Mia is a lively little girl, always curious and explore everything around you. Lena, on the other hand, is quieter, but he has an unexpectedly strong will. You have to work hard to meet the developmental needs of children, from understanding the psychology of children to research education appropriate to their age. Activity. No matter how tired he is, every night there will be time to play and talk with the children. Hope to create unforgettable memories and help them develop holistically. However, when Helena began to understand the world better, they also began to propose questions that can't be easily answered. One day, when Mia was 4 years old, he asked a question that made his heart tight. Dad, why don't we have a mom? Although he is already prepared for this problem, but it was still difficult to hide the choking in my heart. He didn't know how to answer, but in the end, he decided to do it in a way that children could understand. Tell them the truth. A baby, every family is different. I had to gently take Mia into her arms. Some families have a dad and a mom. Some families only have moms. There are also people like us who only have dads and kids. Most importantly, we love each other, isn't it? Mia looked at him and thought for a moment, then nodded, smiled and said I understood. I love Dad. Then he hugged her tightly. Nevertheless, you have to know that this is just the beginning. Grew up with Mia, Lena. They also ask more questions that are difficult to answer. How to explain to the children where they came from. How to prepare. They face other people's curiosity about their family. Gaze and questions. Benefit from the world. Only be well prepared. And seek the help of seniors. To get him on this road of a single father. Walk more steadily. So, Ethan decided to ask for help. He contacted Lena, a social worker who helped him adopt, ask about single parents, and support groups for adoptive families. Lena introduced. He joined a local support group. He met other parents in similar situations. There, they share experiences, touching stories, advice, and mutual support. Help each other through difficult times. This support group. The body is not only a place to seek advice, or did he find comfort, a place for empathy and new friends. These friends were with him, facing the challenges of raising a child in a special situation. With the help of the community, Ethan gradually felt stronger. Never feel lonely on the road to a single dad again. He understands that no matter how difficult the future may be, as long as you have love and persistence, he will surely overcome everything. Hannah, a strong single mother, decided to adopt a boy and became a solid support for Ethan in life. Not only mothers, Hannah is also a close friend of Ethan, always accompany and support him. All decisions in educating children. In those passionate conversations, Ethan shares his valuable experience, especially on how to explain the story of adoption to the child and how to deal with possible social biases. One day, when he was talking to Ethan, Hannah said softly, "Ethan, the most important thing is to be honest with your children. Never try to hide your children's backgrounds. Rather than conceal, it's better to help the children understand. Love is unconditional. Nothing to do with the toe cap." Hannah's words stuck deep in Ethan's heart. Since then, he was determined to do so gently and lovingly. Tell Mia and Lena about their origins. With an open mind, Ethan began looking for books about diverse families. These books help children become more aware of differences and unconditional love. He finds time every night to read to the children. More than just a message of love, it also makes the children feel themselves. The story of the family. It is an important part of life's journey. Ethan also began to tell Mia and Lena their story, about how their dad found them. It was a day he will always remember, and see him as the happiest day of your life. When Mia and Lena started school, Ethan faced a new challenge. He worries about whether the children will be different from family to family, and was teased by his classmates. He couldn't help but feel uneasy. But he also knows it's about educating kids, learn about diversity, and important moments of respect for everyone. It doesn't matter what kind of family they come from. On the first day, when the children were sent to school, I had to feel a sense of pride and nervousness. Mia Helena is now a bit more mature, wearing a new uniform, carrying a large backpack, looks cute and strong. When they walk through the school gates, Mia has a big smile and curious eyes, turning to Ethan and asking, "Dad, can I tell my classmates about our family?" Ethan's warm smile. He nodded proudly. "Of course, baby. Our family was very special and wonderful. You can proudly tell anyone who wants to hear it." So Ethan didn't just encourage Mia, also passed to him confidence in the face of various situations in life. Unlike Mia, Lena remained silent. Squeezed Ethan's hand tightly. He bent down, hugging the two children tightly. Then he said, "You have to remember, Daddy will always love you, always proud of you." When Ethan saw his child walk into the school, a sense of pride welled up in his heart, and deep love. Although there are still many challenges and difficulties in life, he knows, when I see my children growing up healthy and happy, all the sacrifices were worth it. Time flies. Mia Helena's elementary school years also passed quickly. Two children developed into a smart and confident little girl. Mia is lively and cheerful, possess excellent communication skills, always in terms of language and art, achieve excellent results. Lena, on the other hand, is quieter, but in math and science, exceptional talent has been demonstrated. Ethan is always full of encouragement and develop children's talents, although this is sometimes means he has to work overtime to earn money to buy books and school supplies. However, life isn't always pretty. When Mia Helena entered puberty, new challenges followed. Mia was originally a lively person. Girls who are easily approachable and always at the center of the crowd begin to feel difficult in making friends. She became interested in questions about her family, more sensitive. Sometimes back home, the eyes are red. It seems that there is something on the mind. I don't know who to share it with. Grace is the opposite. Become more introverted. Speak little. Hannah spends almost all of his time studying. He was immersed in books. He rarely shares his feelings with his father. Ethan was worried. He sensed that his daughter seemed increasingly distant. It's not as open as it used to be. He was worried about Mia Helena is facing some problems that he can't solve immediately. But there was one thing Ethan was sure of. That's no matter how difficult it is, he is still a friend to the children. It's their solid support will help them overcome all challenges and regain confidence in yourself. One night, when Ethan was cleaning out the kitchen after dinner, he suddenly heard sobs coming from Mia's room. He ran over without hesitation. The heart is beating wildly. Worry about what's going on. After entering the room, he saw Mia curled up on the bed. Tiny shoulders trembled with sobbing. "Hey, baby, what's wrong?" Ethan hurriedly sat down, gently stroked Mia's back. "I want to comfort her." Mia looked up at her dad. The eyes are red, full of tears. Daddy. She sobbed. Why are our families so different? Why didn't I have a mom like other kids?" Ethan's heart seemed to be squeezed tightly. He was ready for this moment, but all this still didn't make it easy for him. Mia's question was a painful reminder. Let him realize the difference between the two children. Mia, Ethan whispered, hold your daughter in your arms. Every family has its own story. Our stories may be different, but that doesn't mean it's not special. It took a deep breath. Try to keep your emotions under control. Your dad doesn't know why. Mother, your mom decides not to keep you anymore. Congratulations to Lena. Perhaps he is facing difficulties that we cannot understand. But most importantly, the day when Dad found Lehan Lena, it was the happiest day of Dad's life. Ma-e raised his head. The eyes are still red, but his eyes have calmed down. Are you sure? Father, he asked, his voice trembling slightly, but full of hope. Really, Ethan smiled, gently wiped the tears from her daughter's face. Daddy loves you very much. Lena, this love cannot be expressed in words. You are the greatest gift of Dad's life. We may be different from other families, but the love in our family is incomparable. Ma seemed to be comforted a little. Hold Daddy tightly, as if you want to feel this one and only, the warmth and firmness of the man who has always been with her. They sat quietly for a long time. Say nothing. Embracing each other makes everything seem so secure. When Ma calmed down, Ethan asked softly, do you want to talk about what's going on at school? The horse is a little headed. Begin to talk about what happened in class, he said in a low tone. Some of his classmates made fun of him because he doesn't have a mother. Also because his family is different from other classmates. Ethan listened to the pang of pain in his heart, thinking that my daughter has to face loneliness. And those nasty words. His heart was like being clutched. But he is also proud. Because of my. Be brave enough to say these emotions. Baby, Ethan said gently. Dad is very proud of you. Because you dare to watch. To your feelings. It's not easy. We'll get through this together. Tomorrow Dad will talk to your teacher. Figure out the problem. If you want, we can find a way to explain it to our students. Let them know more about our family. The aunt nodded. The sadness in his eyes was lessened. I slowly felt a little lighter in my heart. Thank you, Dad, he said, his voice still a little choked. But it's a lot warmer than before. Daddy love you, Ethan responded. Hug Ma again, as if to reaffirm your endless love. Make sure Ma is asleep. Ethan walked out of the room gently. Come to Grace's room. He knocked on the door. A whispered answer was heard from inside. Come in. Grace is sitting on the bed. A thick book rests on his lap. Ethan sat next to him and watched him. After a while, he asked, Did you hear the conversation between Dad and the aunts? Grace nodded, but his eyes were still downcast. Didn't look directly at Dad. It seems that Grace is hiding some thoughts of her own, reluctant to speak out. Ethan looked at her daughter. Feel that serene distance. This sense of closure made him worry that he would grow bigger and bigger. But he knew. Lena doesn't open her heart as easily as Ma. Do you want to talk about what happened? Ethan asked softly. Strive to create a safe space. Let the daughter be able to share his feelings. Grace didn't answer immediately, but after a moment of silence, he looked up at Ethan. There was a glint of curiosity in his eyes, but there is also a slight concern. Daddy, Ma is fine. The aunts will be fine. Rest assured, Ethan smiled. He gently patted Grace on the shoulder. Dad knows you're always worried about aunts, but we'll always be together. No matter what happens, our home is always your safest, the most loving place. Grace didn't say anything more, but his eyes lit up. It seemed that those words eased the worry in his heart a little. Ethan hugged Grace gently. It seems to convey a sense of security and love, even if sometimes silence can make people feel lonely. Ethan closed the book in his hand gently, but a warm feeling welled up in his heart. He knows. Lena needs some time to gather her thoughts. We'll say those important words. After a while, Lena finally looked up. His eyes stared at Ethan steadfastly. Daddy, Grace whispered. The tone is soft but full of determination. I don't care about the differences between us. I just want Dad to know. I'm really happy. The daughter who can be a dad. Grace's words were like a beam of light. It warmed Ethan's heart. He felt the genuine love and affection from his daughter. It made him unable to suppress his emotions. Ethan gently hugged Grace into his arms. Hold him tight. In his arms. Grace is petite though, but he also exudes a strong strength. It's a force that can't be easily shaken. You touch Dad so much. Ethan whispered. The tone was choked. Dad is also very happy. I'm proud to be the dad of you and the aunts. They sat quietly. Say nothing. But that connection in this moment. It seems that all the words have been spoken. After a while, Grace broke the silence. Asked Dad softly, "Is there anything I can do to help my?" Ethan looked into his daughter's eyes, proud of her genuine concern. "Together, we can find a way to help my." He smiled and responded softly, "You can share some with my." Your approach to other people's questions or comments. Grace thought for a moment, then nodded. There was a glint of determination in his eyes. "I'll talk to my," he promised. There was a sparkle of determination in his eyes. As Ethan walked out of Grace's room, a wave of warmth and calm. The feeling spread through his heart. Although their families are facing a lot of difficulties, but love and unity, it will always be them who will be able to overcome everything. The strongest force. He understands that as long as they are still together, there is no challenge that cannot be overcome. The next day, Ethan decided to take a half-day off. Go to the school to meet the teacher of Lumaihan, the homeroom teacher, Mr. Tao. He is always willing to listen and understand students' stories of people. When Ethan shares the difficulties that Mai is facing, Mr. Tao showed great concern. Whispered to Ethan, "I'm sorry to hear about something I didn't have to go through. We've been working hard. Create a place where every student is respected. A learning environment that makes them feel safe. No matter what the difference is, I would be with the whole class. Talk about family diversity and stress the importance of respecting these differences." The teacher's words made Ethan feel a little more relaxed. It also reassured him. He felt the sincere support of his teachers for their home. "Thank you very much, teacher," he said with a hint of gratitude. "I want to ask too, is there any way I can get more involved in school activities? I hope my children can be proud of their families." The teacher smiled and nodded in agreement. "That's a really good idea, Ethan. Your participation is very welcome. Maybe you can come to school, share your work with children, or get involved in some class activities. This will certainly allow the children to be on their own family. More confidence." Ethan didn't hesitate to agree. "Although there are still some worries in my heart. Worry about how to organize work and time, get involved in school activities." But he knew this is very important for children. In the next few weeks, Ethan became more involved in school activities. He volunteered to be a handful, teaching assistant for engineering classes, share your construction work on career day, even helped organize a class outing. Although the work is busy, but every time you participate in an event, he felt the joy and meaning in it. He understands in life, nothing. Then for the kids, build an environment of love and connection. More important, such, they will be able to thrive in the face of the challenges ahead. Face it with confidence. Mia Harina first appeared at school on her father. Somewhat surprised, because for the kids, the image of dad is for them, is relatively new and fresh. However, over time, Ethan appears at the school, began to gradually change the children's perception of him. Whenever Ethan walks into the classroom, Mia Helena's eyes sparkled with pride. Both girls had big smiles. These moments, it seems to inject more power into Ethan. Let him put in every ounce of effort. It's all meaningful. Ethan's involvement in school activities. Not only has it had a positive impact on the kids, it also began to affect other students and parents. The children began to be curious about Ethan's work, constantly inquired about his profession in construction. Some initially, parents who have some reservations about this single father, also began to open up. Talk to Ethan. I even formed a friendship with him. Step by step, he overcame social prejudices. Gradually, it has won the respect and love of the community. However, Ethan's life wasn't always so easy to balance. Work, take care of the family, and participate in school activities. It's a big challenge for him. Those nights that stay up late and work overtime, even to exhaustion. Those days when it feels like your body is about to collapse. But every time he sees Mia Helena happy smile, he would tell himself all the tiredness and pay. It's worth it. Children's love and pride. It always pushes him to keep trying. When Mia Harina entered her teenage years, Ethan had to face new challenges. Mia was 13 years old and began to focus on fashion, loved shopping, and often meet up with friends. She often asked her father to give her money to buy fashionable clothes or take part in recreational activities with friends. And Lena, 10 years old, still quiet though, but began to show a passion for music and asked to learn piano. Ethan did his best, meet the growing needs of children. He worked overtime, in order to buy clothes for May that he likes, and found a second-hand piano for me to practice. However, these sacrifices, it means that he has less time for himself, can't get a good rest. Every day, he struggles to balance work and family. But sometimes it feels exhausting. It is almost impossible to continue. One night, when Ethan sat at the kitchen table, when you concentrate on calculating your expenses for the next month, suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. At first, he thought it was just fatigue. It is a normal reaction of the body after a long period of work. However, the pain did not abate, and gradually feel difficulty breathing. At this time, Mia is doing her homework in the living room. Something is amiss. Run over immediately. Daddy, Daddy, what happened to you? Mia asked anxiously and panickedly. Ethan tried to smile to comfort the child, but the pain was too intense. He couldn't speak easily. Dad, it's okay, he replied, but his voice was weak and staccato in his voice. Mia quickly called the emergency services. Lena, on the other hand, rarely expresses her emotions, ran to his father's side. Hold his hand tightly. It's as if it's transmitting strength and tranquility in this way. Ethan tried to stay calm. Don't want the kids to worry. But the fear in my heart came well. If something happens to me, what will the children do? The ambulance arrived quickly. Take Ethan to the hospital. Mia, Helena hurried to catch up with the taxi. The eyes are red and swollen with worry and fear. At the hospital, the doctor diagnosed. Ethan was stressed out and overworked, and caused heart disease. When Ethan woke up after the treatment, the first thing to feel, it was Mia Helena who held his hand with warmth. Two girls sit next to a hospital bed, eyes swollen from crying. But when they saw Dad wake up, a relaxed smile appeared on his face. Daddy, Cole's voice trembled. Dad, don't worry us so much anymore. Grace doesn't usually talk much. Suddenly I started crying. Dad, we need you. Dad, you have to be healthy. Ethan looked into the children's eyes. Feel the endless love and worry in their eyes. He took the two girls into his arms, vowed to take better care of yourself. So no matter what difficulties you face, he was always there for them. For him, nothing is more important than family. He will protect and take care of Mia and Lena. These are the two most precious beings in his life. Make every effort. Ethan felt a choking wave of emotion rush over her. Tears could barely hold back. He held the hands of his two daughters. There was remorse and sincerity in his eyes. Then whispered, Daddy, I'm sorry you guys. Dad promised to take good care of himself. Not anymore. These words are not just promises to children. It's also a commitment to yourself, to change and reinvent the life of the family. At that moment, it was more than a simple apology. It was a strong mental shock, a wake-up call for the whole family. Ethan came to realize, I was overworking during this time. Excessive effort. Put all your energy into making money. But they ignore the most important and valuable asset of health. Mia and Lena's two daughters are also beginning to realize this. They know they need to do more for their families. The responsibility is not only to help Dad. It is also necessary to contribute to the common life of the family. The next few weeks, as Ethan slowly recovered, the family has also experienced many positive changes. Mia Helena began to take on more household chores, from cooking to laundry, help Dad with household chores, and they're starting to understand the value of money better and realize that not everything can be requested. You can't just ask for what you want. Such changes aren't just a chore. It is an important step in their growth process. On the advice of a doctor, Ethan decided to reduce the workload, reduced man hours. Give yourself more time to rest and take care of your body. He also began to search those jobs that are not physically demanding. I want to be able to stay healthy for a long time. One day, when he was sitting on the couch, relax and read the newspaper, enjoy a rare time to rest, Mia Helena appeared, with a serious expression on his face. He couldn't help but pay attention. Daddy, Mia spoke. The tone sounds both unfamiliar and mature. We sat down and discussed. Decided one thing. Ethan looked at the two daughters. I was both curious and a little worried. What's the matter? Lena, who usually doesn't say much, always calm girl. T didn't speak. We want to help Dad make money. Hear this. Ethan couldn't hide the shock on his face in surprise. What do you say? You're still reading. How would you want to make money? Didn't explain it right away. There was a sparkle of conviction in his eyes. We know. Dad is trying to work less to protect his health. So we felt like we could help. On weekends, I can help my neighbors with their children. Lena can help children with math in the community. Ethan felt a strong wave of emotion welling up in his heart. It is a source of pride, gratitude, and deep love. He took his two daughters into his arms, hugged them tightly, and hugged them as if they didn't want to let go. The tone was choked. He said excitedly that you are the pride of your father. Dad was really touched by your thoughts. But you don't need to do that. Your responsibility is to learn. Enjoy your youth. Mia and Lena looked at each other for a moment. Then he turned to his dad in unison. The eyes are full of determination. We know we didn't say it, but we want to help. We are family. Family members should support each other. Isn't it, Father? Ethan couldn't say anything more, just nodded silently. Tears welled up in my heart, but he couldn't put it into words. He felt a strange warmth. It's as if everything in the house has changed. After the silence, they came to an agreement. Mia Helena helps with household chores on weekends, and you can do some work to earn pocket money. But Ethan insisted. Learning remains a priority. Since starting a new job, Ethan noticed a noticeable change in the children. Didn't become more confident, especially when communicating with adults. Able to deal with a variety of situations more maturely. Lena remained silent, though, but he was helping the neighbors' children with tuition. Demonstrated self-confidence. Ethan couldn't be prouder. For yourself. Ethan also felt a profound change. He began to learn to accept help from those around him. This was something he had always found difficult before. He participates in more community events, and not just for people who are in a similar situation. Make connections. It's also about learning how to better manage your life. Ethan, I also joined a volunteer group for single dads. There he found resonance and got valuable advice. These changes are minor, but he's learning how to take better care of himself, and in the process of family. An important step forward. One night, when the whole family sits around the dining table and enjoys stand up to unprepared dinner. It's his newfound skill. Ethan looked at the two daughters. The heart is full of happiness, although life is still full of challenges and difficulties. But he understood. As long as they're still together, family is always their strongest pillar, able to help them overcome everything. Dinner was warm and intimate. When the whispers of dinner gradually subsided, Mia interrupted Ethan's thoughts with a sudden opening. Father? He said. The eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. I have an idea. What an idea? Ethan asked curiously. Mia laughed and continued. I think we should have a party. Ethan was surprised. But I also admire it. What kind of party? He asked. Mia smiled brightly. There was a gleam of happiness in his eyes. Throw a party that celebrates our family. Father, we can invite those during this time. People who have helped us. Aunt Di and Lila. Mr. Clark. Grace doesn't talk much, though. But he nodded in agreement and added, yes, we should be grateful to them. Thank you for everything they do. Ethan was touched by the children's thoughts. A sense of warmth and pride welled up in my heart. It's a great idea, he whispered. The tone is soft, but full of emotion. That's what we did. The children. In the days that followed, the whole family prepares for this special party together. Mia Helena excitedly made an invitation card. Ethan, on the other hand, prepares the food and drinks. The whole family cleaned their little apartment, turn it into a welcoming space, full of love and anticipation. Get ready for the upcoming party. Finally, the day of the party came. Their little apartment was filled with laughter, conversation. The whole atmosphere is intimate and warm. Mia Helena's teacher, Aunt Diane, came with some colleagues. Xiang Yi once doubted whether Ethan is able to raise his children well in the neighborhood. Now I'm happily chatting with him. Sky? Mr. Clark, Ethan's boss. I also came with some colleagues from the construction site. When everyone comes together, Ethan stood up, holding a glass of water, gently tapped the cup, got everyone's attention. Everyone was silent. Eyes were on him. Hello, everyone. Ethan spoke. The tone was full of excitement. Thank you all for joining us today. We have this party, not just to celebrate our families, also for expression. We are to all those who have helped us. Deeply grateful. He paused for a moment. Eyes look around the room. Stay on every familiar face. Each person has an important influence on his family. 13 years ago, when I decided to adopt Mia Helena, I can't foresee what I'm going to face in the future. All I knew was that I couldn't let these two kids be separated. Looking back now, I know I made the right decision. That decision was the best thing I've ever done in my life. Mia and Grace Cham are by Daddy's side. The hand clasped his hand tightly. Ethan looked at them. The eyes are full of pride. Raising these two amazing daughters. It's not always easy. We have experienced many difficulties and challenges. But every moment is worth it. If it weren't for everyone's support and help, we would not have gotten this far. He turned to Aunt Diane. This has been in the process of educating Mia Helena. Teachers who give help. Aunt Diane, thank you very much for your continued support and trust. You help Mia, Helena feel accepted. It also makes them more confident than ever. Then, Ethan looked at Xiangyi, this neighbor who has helped him raise his children for a long time. Yes, thank you for your continued concern. And give us valuable advice. Your words are more than just guidance, or a great encouragement from our family. Finally, Ethan turned to Mr. Clark, eyes full. Thanks to Mr. Clark. Thank you for your continued understanding and flexibility with my working hours. This allows me to better balance work and family. He took a deep breath. Emotions welled up in my heart. Finally, Mielina, Dad would like to say a deep thank you to you. You guys taught Dad a lot about love and perseverance. Dad, I love you. Love your persistence. Love also what it means for you to be a father. Dad loved us very much. Mia Helena couldn't help but rush into her father's arms with emotion. Tears rolled down her cheeks. The whole room seemed to stand still. In this touch, applause rang out. Many people can't hold back tears in their hearts, quietly flowing. When the applause gradually stops, every walked to the front, holding a small box in his hand. Daddy choked up. We also have a gift for you. Ethan looked at the two daughters. The eyes were full of surprise and curiosity. Dan Mia slowly opened the box. Take out a simple leather bracelet. 3 names are delicately engraved on it. Ethan, Mia, Lena. We saved money to buy this bracelet for Dad. Lena explained softly. There was pride in his tone. This gift is for Dad to always remember. No matter what happens, we will always feel like a family. A warmth welled up in my heart. He wears the bracelet around his wrist. Then he pulled his 2 daughters into his arms, speechless with excitement. The evening continued. The atmosphere is warm and intimate. Everyone talked and laughed, sharing unforgettable memories of Ethan and his 2 daughters. The laughter was loud. Joy fills the space. Let this little room shines with love and happiness. The evening gradually ended. When the last few guests also left, Ethan, Mia, and Lena packed up together. They worked silently. Everyone has their own thoughts and feelings in their hearts, reminiscing about this one. An evening full of meaning. After everything is sorted out, the 3 of them sat on the couch. Mia Helena leaned on her dad's shoulder, quietly enjoy a moment of tranquility. After a while, Mia spoke, her tone full of emotion. Dad, I'm so glad we had this party. Lena nodded. There was a sparkle of agreement in his eyes. Yes, I saw you all here. Share the joy with us. It's really great. Ethan smiled softly, gently stroked the hair of her 2 daughters. Dad thinks so too. We are so lucky, with such good friends and neighbors. The 3 of them sat quietly. Enjoy this little space. That warmth and intimacy. Eventually, Ethan spoke softly. The tone is emotional. You know what? When Dad decides to adopt you, I used to be very worried. I don't know if I can be a good dad. Mia Helena looked up, listened quietly to Dad's words. Ethan continued. The tone was choked, but full of sincerity. But now I know. That was the best decision I ever made. You brought it to Daddy. It is a meaning and joy of life. It's something I've never dared to dream of. Didn't bow his head. The tone was choked. Dad, so do we. We can't imagine, if you weren't there for us, what our lives will look like. Grace, a person who doesn't usually speak. A girl who always hides her emotions in her heart. He said suddenly, Father, I know we're not an ordinary family, but I feel like we're more special than any family. We choose each other for ourselves. Grace's words were soft, but it is full of deep meaning. Let everyone's heart. They were all shocked and couldn't suppress their emotions. Tears unconsciously welled up in his eyes. He couldn't suppress the intense love that surged in his heart. He hugged his 2 daughters tightly. Feel the warmth and connection they bring. You're right, he whispered in a choked voice. We chose each other. Daddy will always choose you. Forever. The 3 of them sat quietly at that special moment. Enjoy the closeness and unconditional love for each other. Outside, The city of Hanoi is still noisy and busy. But in this tiny apartment, everything was so peaceful. It's like being covered in the warm fabric of happiness. When Helena finally fell asleep, had to sit alone on the couch, look out the window. He stared out into the darkness. But his thoughts, traced back to that long and challenging road. From a hard job, single man on construction site, to one, a single dad raising two lovely daughters. The road is not easy, but it was him, gave it to him. Those joys and meanings that he could never have imagined. Ethan bowed his head, looking at the simple bracelet that Lena gave him. He smiled. There was a sparkle of happiness in his eyes. See the three names engraved on it. Ethan and Lena. He knows that no matter how many challenges lie ahead, they will always be together. That's right. That's all he needs. When the first rays of dawn shine through the window, illuminate the room. Ethan finally rested his head on the pillow. Eyes closed gently. My heart is filled with love and gratitude. He knows that tomorrow will bring new challenges. But with Helena by his side, he believes that nothing cannot be overcome. When he closed his eyes and smiled slightly, he understands that even this life is not perfect. But for him and his two daughters, he's close to perfection. The next few years, life is full of constant changes. Helena began to enter puberty. With it comes new difficulties and challenges Ethan had to face. The two daughters had a sudden emotional outburst. Their need for privacy, and arguments about work and rest times. It made him feel a little tired. Mia is bubbly, outgoing, and easy to access. Begin to face fluctuations with friends. He often came home with stories full of emotion. Talk about the rift in friendship. The love affair in the school days broke down. And inevitable conflicts. Ethan felt like he was walking a tightrope. Try to listen, give advice, and at the same time, let the daughter have space to solve problems on her own. Strike a balance. Grace, on the other hand, is becoming more and more closed. He spends most of his time in his room. Immerse yourself in books and music. Ethan fears that Grace will become more and more isolated. But every time he tries to talk to him, he always replied briefly that he was fine. Ethan didn't know how to approach him, but he always felt the distance between them. One night, while Ethan was preparing dinner, suddenly heard Lena. There was a fierce quarrel in the room. He hurried over. The two daughters were found standing together. His face was as red as fire. You don't understand at all. Mia shouted. You've always said you want a sister, but you don't want to talk to me at all. You think you know everything, but you don't know me at all. Asterisk. Asterisk. You don't understand anything. Asterisk, asterisk to respond. The voice trembled with strong emotion. I'm not a sister. I can't be as happy and gregarious as she is forever. Grace's words were like a bolt from the blue. Let Ethan ting at the door, shocked by this sudden quarrel. She had never seen Grace express her emotions so strongly. She took a deep breath. Try to stay calm. Kids, what's going on? The little sister turned to look at Ethan. Tears began to run down her cheeks. I just wanted to help make it easier for Lena to integrate into the school. But she always locked herself up. Father. Lena shook her head vigorously. The eyes are full of stubbornness. I don't need your help. I have my own way. Ethan looked at his two daughters. It felt like my heart was being torn apart. He realized, even though they have been through so many challenges together, Mia and Lena are still two completely different entities. Each has its own feelings and needs that he doesn't fully understand. Well, Ethan said in a firm but gentle tone, we need to sit down and talk about it. He walked to the living room with his two daughters. Sit among them on the couch. Silence enveloped the three of them. No one spoke. Didn't sobbed a few times from time to time. Lena, on the other hand, just stared down at the floor, with an expression on his face that tried to hide his unhappiness. After a while, Ethan whispered Mia, can you tell Daddy? Why? Do you want to help your sister? Mia wiped her tears, whispering that I just hope Lena can be happy. She always looked sad at school. It's lonely. I think if he could make more friends, everything will be better. It won't be so lonely anymore. Ethan nodded. I thought about it for a moment, then turned to Grace. What about you? Grace, how do you feel about it? Grace was silent for a moment. It seems to be trying to find the right words to express. Eventually, he whispered, barely audible. I'm not alone. I'm just different. I'm not that into the hustle and bustle and the crowds. I prefer to be alone, or just with a few good friends. Gotta listen carefully. a tingling in my heart. Be aware of yourself to the children. There's a lot I don't know, he said softly. The voice is full of understanding. I understand. Everyone has their own way. Come and feel happy and at ease. There is no right or wrong. Didn't look at Grace. His face was full of guilt. Say Grace gently. I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel. I just wanted to help you. Grace nodded slightly. I know. I'm sorry I shouted at you. I just didn't feel like I was being understood. Ethan hugged her daughters tightly. The heart is full. Warmth and love for children. Sometimes we may not fully understand each other. But what's important? We need to be willing to listen and feel each other's thoughts. Everyone has their own feelings. And it's what makes each of us unique. Mia and Lena glanced at each other. Then they all nodded slightly. Mia smiled, although the smile is a little fragile. But at the same time, there is a lot of hope. He said, could you tell me about your friends? I want to know what kind of people they are. Back and forth with a gentle smile, although only for a brief moment. But it's still full of warmth. Well, maybe you'll like them. A sense of relief and pride welled up in Ethan's heart, although there are still many challenges ahead. But he knew the family has already stepped forward, an important step in understanding and accepting each other. Because Mia Helena began to communicate more frankly, Ethan quietly left the room, leave some private space for the two sisters. He returned to the kitchen to continue his cooking work. The heart is full of gratitude and a deep love for this little family. In the years that followed, the Ethan family has undergone many dramatic changes. Mia, with her lively and enthusiastic personality, decided to study journalism at a university in Hanoi. She longs to tell those meaningful stories. These stories have the power to change and improve society. Grace, on the other hand, opted for a quieter one. But it's just as fun. Also impressive roads. He is known for his love of music and keen analytical skills. A university in Ho Chi Minh City was chosen, majoring in music technology. I have to be proud of my daughter's future at the same time. There is no shortage of worry. He was used to Mia Helena being by his side all the time, and the thought that the home is about to become quiet. He felt a little lost. The next day, Mia will embark on her studies. The family decided to hold a small party. Ethan prepares Mia's favorite dishes and invited some close friends to celebrate together. When the time of farewell comes, I have to hold my daughter tightly. Try to suppress the emotions surging in your heart. Remember to take good care of yourself. Her voice was choked. Also call your grandparents often. Mia nodded tearfully. I will, Dad, I love you. After Mia left, Ethan and Lena began to adjust to a new life. They had to spend more time together. Ethan was pleasantly surprised. Lena gradually became more open. In the evenings, they often sit together. Grace plays the piano. Instead, listen quietly. Sometimes they hum along to familiar melodies. However, only a few months later, Grace is also ready to leave home. On the evening before Lena's departure, Ethan found her daughter sitting alone on the balcony. Look into the distance of the city. Haven't you slept yet? Ethan asked softly. When he got closer, he sat down beside her. Lena shook her head. There was a hint of anxiety in his eyes. I was a little nervous. Father. Ethan smiled and nodded. He understands that it is always difficult to travel far away, but he believed that his daughter would behave well. Minami turned to look at his father. A flash of worry flashed in his eyes. Dad, wait until my sister and I are gone. You'll be fine. His heart is warmed by her daughter's concern. He smiled and said, Dad, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Dad has a job. There are also friends. And your phone calls and letters. Dad always looked forward to it. Lena nodded slightly. Suddenly, he hugged his father tightly. Thank you, Dad. He whispered. Thank you for everything you did for us. Ethan reciprocated to his daughter. I was speechless with emotion. No, it should be Dad. Thank you. It was you who filled Dad's life with meaning and happiness. The father and daughter sat quietly for a long time. Enjoy this last quiet time, because Grace is about to embark on a new journey in life. The next morning, when Grace boarded the bus, Ethan Chu Di felt the emotions of pride and sadness. He waved goodbye. I watched the car disappear from view, then slowly return home. That originally cozy house. Now suddenly it was empty and quiet. In the youngest daughter, little Lena, and the eldest daughter, little Mia. The first few days away from home. Yes, it's really challenging. He found that the home had become too quiet and spacious. He clearly felt the laughter that was missing, small arguments, or even when the sisters are doing their homework together. Loud sounds. This sense of loss made him feel lonely, because it used to be a space full of laughter and family affection. Now there is only silence. However, Ethan didn't let himself be immersed in grief. Instead, he began to look for new ways to fill the time. And keep in touch with your daughters, even if the geographical distance forces them to separate the two places. He learned to use Skype. I have a video call with little Mia and little Lena every week. These home calls became an integral part of their lives. The trio took this opportunity to share the highlights of the past week and new developments with each other. Ethan is looking forward to these moments because you can see my daughters smile, hear their voices, even when not around. I can also feel the deep family affection. And that's not all. Ethan is also actively involved in the community. He worked as an employee at a vocational training center, helping youth from disadvantaged families. Share yourself over the years. Valuable experience in the construction industry. The job. Not only does it make him feel like he has a contribution to society, also created for him to communicate with new friends. Opportunities to expand your social circle. At the same time, you have to start paying more attention to your own life. He began to exercise regularly, take part in a cooking class, even try to learn a new language. Whenever I miss my daughter, he would look at the family photo hanging on the wall. It was when little Mia graduated from high school. A photo taken by their family of 3 together. Looking at the photos, Ethan told himself with a smile, although they are separated, but that connection of love and affection will never change. Over time, Ethan gradually adjusts to his new life. He learns to enjoy the tranquility of his home, while maintaining regular contact with little Mia and little Lena. Every time the daughters come home to visit their relatives, it was a special day for him. He always prepares a sumptuous dinner. Prepare each dish with care. Express your love and welcome to your daughters. Let them feel the warmth of home. One day, Ethan was tidying up his old wardrobe, stumbled upon an old box that had been kept many years ago. He sat on the floor, carefully opened the box, take out the items stored inside. An old blanket, a pair of baby socks, and when I first picked up little Mia and little Lena home, written note paper. Look at these things. A wave of emotion rushed over Ethan's heart. He recalls the beginning of raising his daughters. At that time, I was worried and scared. There is uncertainty about the future. But over time, the joyful smiles and love that little Mia and little Lena bring make his life meaningful, full of happiness. I couldn't help but pick up my phone emotionally. Sent a message to little Mia and little Lena. Dad, just found some stuff from your kids. It reminds me of a lot of memories. Daddy really loves you guys. A few minutes later, little Mia and little Lena both replied. Little Mia posted a string of love emojis. Little Lena replied that I love my dad too. Thank you, Dad, for everything he did for us. Ethan smiled. I feel like there's love inside. Although life has changed, but the love and connection between the three, it's still as strong as it was at the beginning. As he carefully put the items back in the box, he did. There is a deep sense of calm when you put it away. He understands that no matter how far Mia and Lena go far, they are always family. This is the most precious gift that life has given him. No matter what happens, this family love will never fade. The years passed. The life of Ethan's 2 daughters continued to unfold in a new direction, full of novelty and surprise. Little Mia has a passion for journalism. After graduating from university, started working at a large newspaper in Hanoi. Her in-depth reporting quickly caught the attention, especially those about children in difficulty and adoptive families. And little Lena found his way in the field of music technology. After graduating, he joined Ho Chi Minh City, a well-known music studio. He is widely acclaimed for his creative and musical talents. 2 daughters. They have embarked on their own professional and life journeys, and they are always their companions. Share joy and sorrow at any time, and support them every step of the way. Ethan is 60 years old, but it is still active in the construction industry. Today, he works as an advisor. Share years of valuable experience with the younger generation. Meantime, he also devotes more time to public welfare activities. In particular, projects to support orphans and families in need. Make his life more fulfilling. One day, Ethan unexpectedly receives a call from little Mia. "Dad," his excited voice came from the other end of the phone. "I have good news for you." Ethan's heart raced. Asked expectantly, "What's the matter?" "My daughter, Mia, happily announced that I was about to get married. Yesterday, Ryan proposed to me." Last night, Ethan's heart swelled with excitement. He had met Ryan a few times. Impressed by the young journalist. He is a colleague of little Mia. Talented and calm and reliable. "Oh, my good daughter," Ethan said in a choked tone. "It is full of emotion and joy. Daddy is happy for you. I really bless you." After hanging up the phone, Ethan sat in his chair. "There are all kinds of emotions surging in my heart." His little girl. A child who was once held in his arms. Now it's grown up. Get ready to get married. Welcome to a new chapter in your life. With excitement. Gotta pick up the phone and call little Lena right away. Share the good news. Little Lena couldn't hide her excitement after listening to it. Promised to arrange a time to go home. Prepare for your wedding with your family. In the coming months, Ethan's home is filled with a busy and convivial atmosphere. Preparing for this big day, little Mia and Ryan decide. Host a small, intimate wedding. Only family and close friends are invited to attend. Ethan is full of love for her daughter. Participate in every step of the preparation. From choosing the venue to designing the wedding card. Every detail has been poured into his heart, just to give your beloved daughter a perfect wedding. When little Mia arrives home to try on her wedding dress, Ethan's gaze followed her. She watched her daughter stand in front of the mirror, wearing a pure white wedding dress. His eyes were full of amazement and emotion. She's not that anymore. A little girl rescued from a garbage dump. Rather, she is now a confident, beautiful, and happy woman. "You're so beautiful," Ethan whispered. The voice is full of excitement and gentleness. Little Mia turned, smiled, and replied, "Thank you, Dad." He hesitated, then asked Dad, "I have a special request. I wanted my dad to lead me into the auditorium." Little Mia said, her eyes welling up with tears. "I know according to tradition, the bride should be accompanied by her biological father. But for me, Dad is my real father. Over the years, it was my father who accompanied me with love and care. So I hope in the most important moments of my life, Daddy can be there for me." Hear these words. Ethan's tears could no longer be suppressed. He approached, and little Mia hugged her tightly. Choked up. "It will be the greatest honor of Dad's life. My baby girl." The wedding has finally arrived. Ethan wears a crisp suit. Stand outside the powder room door. Excited and nervous. He waited for his daughter to be ready. Meet this milestone in your life. When little Mia walked out in her wedding dress, Ethan's heart, an indescribable pride, and a lot of love welled up. "Are you ready?" Ethan asked softly. "Reach out to little Mia." He held his father's hand. Tears of happiness glistened in his eyes. "Laugh and say I'm ready, Father." When they walked into the auditorium together, Ethan feels every moment of his life. It seems that they are all setting the stage for this moment. From that fateful night, he rescues little Mia and little Lena, to the challenges and joys that followed. Now everything is complete. When Ethan puts little Mia's hand into Ryan's, he whispered, "Please take good care of my daughter." Ryan nodded earnestly. "Answer, I promise, Father." Ethan felt a pang of relief in his heart. "Then walk to your seat. Sit down with little Lena." Little Lena looked at her father with a smile. His eyes were full of warmth and pride. The wedding is in progress. Ethan's heart is full of emotion and happiness. He watched as little Mia exchanged rings with Ryan. Swear love and loyalty. Every moment warms his heart. A smile on his face. After the wedding reception, Ethan stood up and gave his speech. He took a deep breath. Look around the room full of friends and family. Speak slowly. 25 years ago, I made a decision. This decision changed my life. I decided to adopt two lovely daughters, little Mia and little Lena. At the time, I didn't know if I could do it well, but I knew I couldn't let them be separated. Ethan paused. Try to control your emotions. Little Mia, my dear daughter, watch you grow up. Become so smart, beautiful, and compassionate woman. It's the biggest pride of my father's life. And now, seeing you and Ryan welcome a new life together, Dad's happiness is beyond words. He turned to Ryan. From today, you are also my son. Please love little Mia as much as Dad has loved her all these years. Cherish her. Finally, I had to look at little Lena. Little Lena, my little daughter. Thank you for being with my sister today with Dad. Support our families as usual. Daddy, love you always. In the applause of the crowd, Ethan's eyes glistened with tears, but there was a happy smile on his face. He couldn't be more grateful for all this. Because of the love of the family, it was the most precious gift of his life. When Ethan finished his speech, the room erupted in applause. May and Lena rushed forward. Hold your father tightly. Tears rolled down her cheeks. That night, when the banquet is over, the guests departed. Ethan sat alone on the balcony of the apartment. Hanoi City is lit up under the night sky, and his thoughts. Immerse yourself in the journey along the way. From a single man working on a construction site, to become the father of two beautiful daughters. He accompanied them through countless sleepless nights, faced with financial pressure, experiencing disputes. Countless loving moments were shared. Now, watching Xiaomei enter a new stage of life, Ethan felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He stretched out his hand. Pick up the bracelet that May and Lena gave him years ago. Flick your fingertips over the 3 names engraved on it. Feel the eternal connection between him and his daughter, even if life changes. But the love and bond between them is still the same. Ethan laughs as he thinks back to 25 years ago, when faced with 2 newborn babies. He silently promised that Daddy would take care of you. Daddy promised. For the past 25 years, he has always fulfilled this promise. No, day after day, month after month. When the first light of dawn in Hanoi pierces the sky, Ethan felt a deep sense of peace. He knows that whatever challenges lie ahead, love between family members will always be a beacon to guide them. When Ethan closed his eyes, he smiled. Feel it clearly. That decision 25 years ago not only saved the lives of 2 children, it also saved his own life. On May and Lena, he found meaning in life, purpose, and unconditional love. These are the most precious gifts of life. The years that followed brought many changes to Ethan's family. May and her husband, Ryan, soon had a baby. Ethan became a grandfather. The boy took the name Evan. When he first met his grandson, once again, Ethan's heart was filled with love. Little Lena had a smile on her face, nor could he hide that he saw his father. The joy of welcoming a new character. Little Lena continues to work hard in the field of music technology. Continuous innovation in this challenging industry built its own reputation. He became a well-known music producer. He has collaborated with many famous artists at home and abroad. Although the work consumes a lot of time and effort, little Lena always tries to find time to go home and visit her family, those who he always valued most throughout his life. Ethan decided to retire from construction work at the age of 65, but he didn't choose to be idle. It's about volunteering. He brings a lot of love and valuable experience in the workplace. Became an orphan and adopted. Active advisor to the Family Support Center. Here, he shares his experiences along the way. Help new parents overcome the challenges they face when adopting a child. One day, when Ethan was working at the center, he received an urgent call from Xiaomei. Father. His voice was hurried. Can you get to the hospital right away? Evan has a high fever that does not go away. Hospitalization is required. An uneasy feeling immediately welled up in Ethan's mind. He didn't hesitate. Daddy, right away. He hurriedly packed his things, rushed to the hospital immediately. As the worry in Ethan's mind kept rising, it was as if the heart had stopped beating. Only affects Evan, the case of his favorite grandson. Upon arrival at the hospital, Ethan sees May sitting outside the emergency room. The complexion is pale with anxiety. Ryan was hugging her tightly, trying to comfort her. Ethan walked briskly over, anxiously asked what was going on. Xiaomei looked up at her father. Eye sockets are red and swollen. Apparently just cried, but the tone was as calm as he could. Evan suddenly had a high fever that did not go away. Father, the doctor is examining the cause. Ethan sat down next to her daughter. Hold her hand tightly. Comfort, don't worry. Everything will be fine with the child. Evan is a healthy child. He's going to make it. Although he struggled to make his voice sound steady, but his heart is overwhelmed by his worries about Evan. They waited patiently outside the emergency room. Time seems to stretch out minutes and seconds. It's nerve-wracking. Finally, the door to the emergency room opened. A doctor walked out. Is Evan's family there? May and Ryan immediately stood up. Ethan followed. A glimmer of hope flashed in my heart. The child's condition has stabilized. The doctor said. Let them breathe a sigh of relief. Evan had pneumonia. We have started treatment with antibiotics. Your child will need to stay in the hospital for a few days. After Xiaomei heard this, tears welled up in his eyes. But this time it's because of the joy of relief. Ryan put his arm around her gently, and Ethan felt it. The weight on his shoulders seems to be much lighter. Thank you, doctor. He said, can we go in and see the kids? The doctor nodded. But remind them, only one person can enter at a time. May and Ryan went to visit first. Evan stayed. Ethan pondered in the hallway. He remembered the difficult years of adopting May and Lena. In those days, the fear and anxiety that children bring to him when they are sick. Now see Xiaomei. I also experienced the feeling of worrying about my child. Ethan felt a deep empathy. It's as if I'm reliving those old days. When it was Ethan's turn to enter the room, he saw Evan lying in a hospital bed. He looked very weak, surrounded by infusion tubes and various instruments. A heartache welled up in Ethan's heart, but he struggled to keep himself calm. He walked over to the bed, gently held Evan's little hand, whispered that Grandpa was here. Evan, Grandpa knows you're tired right now, but you have to be strong. You'll be fine soon. Evan opened his tired eyes. There was a faint glint in his eyes. A weak smile appeared on his face. It melted Ethan's heart. Grandpa, can I tell you a story? Ethan said with a soft smile. This is one about Grandpa many years ago. The story of the two little princesses found. So, Ethan used a gentle voice. Start talking to Evan. Those people he loved most in his life. A bond with them. He recounted how he adopted May and Lena, the difficulties faced by the family at first, and those countless nights spent with the two children. He shared from the growth of children, joy and satisfaction gained. Ethan's every word is full of warmth. It's like encouraging Evan. It's like soothing the little boy's heart with love. Listen to Grandpa's story. Evan's eyelids grew heavy. Soon after, he fell asleep peacefully. Ethan lowered his head. He gently kissed his grandson's forehead. The heart is filled with deep love and pity. He stood up. Get out of the ward and look. To Xiaomei is waiting in the corridor. He looked at his father. There was gratitude and exhaustion in his eyes. He still had a worried look on his face. What happened to our son? Mai asked anxiously. Ethan smiled and comforted him. He was already asleep. Dad thought he was going to be fine. Mai nodded. Suddenly, he hugged Ethan tightly. It's like looking for comfort in your dad's arms. Thank you, Dad, for always being here. He choked up. If there is no dad, I don't know what to do. Ethan patted her daughter on the back. The tone is warm and firm. Daddy will always be here for you. Mai. It's like I've been by Li Hanlai's side all these years. They stand together, hands clenched. Feel the wordless connection between father and daughter. Although Mai has grown up and has a family of his own, but Ethan understood. It doesn't matter how many years have passed. He still needs his support, love, and companionship. That hug was simple, but it's enough to make them feel stronger. It also brings them new hope. The next few days, Ethan, Han, and Mai took turns taking care of Ming at the hospital. Whenever Evan wakes up, he would read stories to him. While Evan can play, they will play simple games together. Sometimes it's just when he needs someone to keep him company. Sit quietly next to you. When Lena learns about Ming's situation, fly back to Hanoi from Ho Chi Minh City immediately. He brought a big stuffed doll and a pair of headphones. Saying music can help Ming feel more comfortable. Let him relax a little during the days of treatment. When the whole family gathers at the bedside of the people, Ethan looked around. There was a surge of love and gratitude in my heart. Although it is a situation full of tension and worry, but he also showed the power of family and close contact. At that moment, Ethan felt the fullness of the family's love for each other. None of the challenges at hand. Law stops them. After a week of treatment, Ming was finally discharged from the hospital. When they are ready to leave the hospital, Ethan noticed Mai standing alone by the window, with a pensive expression on his face. He walked over, gently let go of her shoulder, and asked if it was okay. Daughter? The horse turned around. There were tears in his eyes. The tone is soft. I'm just thinking how my dad took care of me and Lena when we were young. I can't imagine it. Dad was alone with our two kids. How many difficulties will be faced? Ethan smiled, with a deep understanding in his eyes. Dad was as scared as you were, he said, with a wealth of experience in his tone. But love for you gives me strength. Let me overcome everything. I hugged his father tightly. Words of gratitude welled up from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Dad, for everything he did for us. This thank you is more than simply a thank you, and even more so for Ethan over the years. A deep appreciation for their love and sacrifice. When they walk out of the hospital, Ming and Bei Jun hugged him. I accompanied. Ethan walked alongside. Seeing your family healthy and happy. A feeling of happiness welled up in Ethan's heart. He understands his love for Mai and Helena. Through the next generation of Ming. Through Mai's children, they continue and develop. Even if life will continue to test them. But Ethan knew, as long as the family is together, they will be able to overcome everything. Because family is not only people who are connected by blood. Rather, those are no matter what the circumstances. People who will support, love, and protect each other. When they walk out of the hospital, the warm sun shone on them. Ethan watched as Mai gently stroked Ming's hair. June took his wife and children into his arms and protected them. And Grace was smiling happily beside her. It was at that moment. Ethan knows, although life is never perfect, but with this love and this connection, they already have a complete and fulfilling family. Thank you for watching today. If you find the video interesting, please subscribe, like, and comment. I will try to bring you more good works.